Hey everyone, Kurt here. I'm going to walk through the process of preparing your file and sending it to the laser cutter using Rhino. I'm working on the desktop of our laser cutter number 3 here, and I have a few files already open down here. One of them is the template file in Rhino, which is on the desktop of the laser cutter computer. The other one here is my file that I prepared in Rhino prior to coming to the lab. And then lastly over here I have our laser settings PDF, which is also located here on the desktop of the laser computer. First, I will go to the template file. There are some test circles in here. We can go ahead, select those, and delete them. Then I'll go back to my file. You can see in my file here, I have a line that represents the material outline. So this is the outline of the cardboard that I'm cutting my parts out of, and this is the exact size and shape of the material that I have. I'm going to be cutting out this geometry. It's a card with some letters on it. This line represents the border of my card that will be cut all the way out of my sheet of cardboard. And on that card, there are letters that will be engraved, and underneath those letters is a wide line that I will raster engrave. Next, I'll select my geometry. I'm going to do Control C to copy that. I'm going to navigate back to the template file and do Control V to paste that geometry in. Now I want to use the Move command, and I'm going to select the top left corner of my material, and I'm going to move that up to the top left corner to align it with the top left corner of the border of the laser cutter. This is where I'm going to physically place my material when I load it into the laser cutter as well. There's a dotted line here. That's just a reference. We don't want to put our parts too close to the border of the laser cutter. We generally want to keep it within that dotted line. Next, we need to assign our colors. The template file has layers set up with the colors that the laser cutter can read. If you use a color that's not over here, the laser won't be able to read it, and it won't show up when you try to send your artwork to the laser cutter. It doesn't matter which colors we use, but we need a different color for each operation, and the laser will generally go in order from top to bottom as they're displayed here. So the first thing I want to cut is my letters. I'm going to select the letters, and then I will right mouse on the red layer and say change object layer to make my letters red. The next thing we will cut is the wide line underneath, and I will go ahead and assign that to the green layer. And finally, for my cutout line, I'm going to assign that to the blue layer just because the yellow color is the same color that Rhino uses to show that something's selected, and that can get confusing sometimes. Now that that's done, we can go up to File, Print. This is going to open the Print dialog menu. The first thing we'll do here is scroll down to set the window of our print area. It is already selected here, but I'll go through the process to show you how to change or to set that. So we want to click the Set button. I'm going to drag this out of the way just to show you how to set the window. It's pretty simple. We will just left mouse click to snap to the corner of the laser cutter border, and then we'll drag and left mouse click the bottom right corner. And once you click, it's going to ask you if you want to change the scale to fit the window area. You can say no here. Now the window is set, and we can right mouse or click enter on the keyboard to set the window. from here we want to scroll down and verify that the scale is 1:1 here, which it is. And now we'll go back up to this properties menu. So we'll click properties. This is the laser cutter properties dialog. You can see all our colors in here. I'm going to start by clicking on the red to select that. You can see that we have some settings here. We have the mode, the power, and the speed. We need to set those for each of the colors that we're using. For the red layer, the letters that we're going to engrave, we're going to set the mode to vect for vector. And then for the power and speed, we're going to go down to our material settings PDF. As I mentioned, I'm cutting cardboard, so I'm going to scroll down to corrugated cardboard here. And for the letters, I want to use a heavy score. So you can see the power and speed listed here is 40 for power, 60 for speed. Keep in mind that these settings are just a guideline, and generally you should do some test cuts before you send your final file to the laser cutter. Now I'll navigate back to the dialog window, and I'll use a power of 40 and a speed of 60. And the last thing we need to do is click set to get those to stay. The next color we're using is the green, and if you remember, this is our wide cut layer. Because this area is wider than the laser beam, we need to assign this to the rast or raster mode, and that will tell the laser to make multiple passes over this area. I'll go back to our settings, and for this area I'm going to do a regular score, and so the power is 16 and the speed is 60. So I will enter in those settings and click set. And lastly, for our blue cutout layer, the mode for that will be vector again. And we can see here we have a power of 60 and a speed of 20 for the cut. And we'll click set. Now we can click OK. That will bring us back to the print dialog window. You'll notice that orientation has changed. So if we go to orientation, we can select portrait, and this is how it should appear. Now we can click print, and we will minimize all our windows. Okay, on the desktop of the machine, we want to go to this UCP machine control program. So we can double click that to open it. You can see our artwork here. The buttons right now are grayed out. That's because we need to turn the laser on. So we can click the power button here to do that. When the laser first turns on, it's going to say initializing down here in the bottom corner. Once that process is done, it should say idle. So it says idle. You can see our buttons are all illuminated now. It's good practice here to click the home XY button. Just make sure that the laser cutter is properly homed. And the last thing that we need to do before we start cutting is focus the laser using our focus tool here. The process for that does involve the UCP. We will click the focus view button here, And with that selected, when we move the cursor out over the artboard, you can see these crosshairs, and we can click in a specific location, and that will bring the carriage out to that area where we can finish focusing the laser at the laser cutter. For instructions on how to do that, see our video on machine setup for laser cutting. Once the layer is focused, we can go ahead and click the play button here. This will start the laser engraving. Notice that the buttons are grayed out. To stop the machine at this point, we can go ahead and click the pause button. It will take the machine a few seconds to finish pausing. Once it's done though, you can see the pause button will change to a resume button. It's really important that when the laser cutter is operating, that you stay in the lab the whole time and oversee the operation of the laser cutter. Parts can catch on fire pretty easily, especially with materials like cardboard. If for some reason you need to leave the lab, you need to use that pause button, and then when you get back, you can press the resume button to continue your file where it left off. You want to be careful not to press play, as that would start the file from the beginning, and generally that's not desirable. That's all the steps for preparing your file and sending it to the laser cutter. Thanks for watching, and good luck laser cutting.